Hi everyone! This is about Crown of Oblivion. Amazing book, amazing story. However, I'm not huge on the ending. The basic premise of Crown of Oblivion is our main character Astrid, who is a surrogate for the princess, whose name is Renya, I think. Well, she's a surrogate, and basically, whenever Renya acts out and is bad, Astrid gets the whip. Brilliant way of showing emotional manipulation to the princess. But obviously, Renya will always get in trouble, and Astrid has to take the whip for that. We don't get to see a whole lot of that, but it's great anyways. This story is centered around Astrid, who decides to join the Race of Oblivion. Now, the Race of Oblivion is this race that outsiders, because outsiders aren't supposed to have magic or anything, there's like 3 entities. Magic isn't thoroughly explained in this book, except for one of them, which Astrid always knew she had. The Race of Oblivion uses this drug Oblivion to wipe the outsiders who enter the race, wipe their personal memories, so they don't know who they are, why they entered the race, or anything. All they know is the race is a thing. They know about their own world. They know everything. They know they're outsiders, because only outsiders can enter the race. Astrid is an outsider who has magic, which is against the law. She's supposed to be like vaccinated when she's born against the 3 unities. So Astrid enters the race. So if you haven't read this book, go pick it up. It's amazing. We start off the book with Astrid getting, well, we get a 4 years ago kind of prologue here, where her older brother, Jaden, runs away, and he's the surrogate to Prince Lars. Yes, Prince Lars. He's the surrogate to Prince Lars. Now, it's assumed that he had a very brutal beating, and so he ran away. More on Jaden later. That's how it starts, and this is the part where we first get to see any magic. So Astrid, well, Renya creates a pontoon bridge through Astrid, which, as far as I'm aware, is like a way to sort of send a message to someone, but the connection has to be with someone you love. So it has to be between 2 people that love each other. So the pontoon bridge is made. They try and catch Jaden, but obviously he gets away. Jaden, we don't get a whole lot of interactions with him, because later in the book, Astrid comes upon him during the race. She has no memory. She doesn't know who he is, but he is the leader of the Outsiders Liberation Army, or OLA. That Liberation Army, that rebellion really, is just, they're brutal. They use bombs. And I get it. I get rebellions need to sometimes use a lot of force. But at the same time, they're not very sneaky at all. So they're just like, here's a bomb. Let's set it off. He also tricks Astrid into getting a bomb into a little town. And woof, that didn't go over well. I was kind of mad at him. He also sets off a lot of bombs at the end of the book, which, let me just say, the end of the book was just, felt like too much in too little pages. We actually start off the book with Astrid being dressed into a red dress. And then they go to the Apple Carnival, where Renya will give Astrid's father a royal order, which will allow him to get the medical attention of a citizen instead of an outsider, because he's sick, and he's been sick for years. So he's been sick for years, and he finally gets that, but as Renya is handing him the order, he dies right at Astrid's feet. It is horrifying. Astrid and Renya go to figure out where her little brother Marlin, sweetest little kid, and also I love how it's alluded to, though not specifically said, that Marlin has autism, because he's got a tic where he repeats words he says while he hears. So they're trying to find out where her brother Marlin is, and then the princess and Astrid get separated. As they're separated, Astrid, despite all her previous notions before, saying that she didn't like the idea of the race, she thought it was foolish, she goes ahead and signs her name into the registration book for the race of Oblivion. And oh my god, I can't tell you how shocked I was. Yes, I knew it was gonna happen, but also her previous notions were all just like, why would anyone enter the race when she does that exact thing? Also, Princess Renya tries to stop her, which I find very amusing, because Astrid is very headstrong. You can tell that from like the first few pages. She's very headstrong and wouldn't listen anyways. These asps come and give her these drugs. 3 drugs. One is a paralyzing agent, I believe. Another is the Oblivion drug. So then she goes into the race. She wakes up by the sea on a rock, of all things, with a map that has her first clue to go to the lighthouse. She knows that she had to have been desperate to enter the race, because only desperate people enter the race. Because it's either one person wins citizenship, or you get added a minimum of 3 years to your indenture, because they're basically slaves to the enchanteds, which are all the people that have magic. Of course, Astrid follows the clue, because this race is all about clues, and I was confused over every clue. I can't solve riddles to save my life. For Astrid to make it through, that was something. So she goes through the race. She meets this boy, Darius, who she tries to strike up a deal after she saves his life after seeing him fall from the lighthouse, because she has scientia, a magic that can predict and feel someone's intention, but people can tell when you're using scientia to fight, so obviously they say that she's using magic that she shouldn't have. She shouldn't be able to use. Obviously, that's true, but she doesn't know that. She doesn't think she has scientia, because she doesn't have any of her memory. She doesn't know why. Darius, this guy, refuses to strike a deal. He's like, I owe you my thanks, but that's it. I don't owe you anything else. Astrid climbs the side of the lighthouse, gets the next clue, which is Poppy's, which is a dance hall, and she finds this little girl, Jane. Jane's a little murderer. She killed an enchanted lady right before coming to the lighthouse and got a canteen of water. So Astrid gets Jane out of there. Astrid doesn't know that Jane killed this woman. So they go to the house, and then Jane tries to kill Astrid. Astrid ties her up on the road, the cow, even though Jane's trying to yell at her that Astrid needs her. Astrid needs all of this. Honestly, I hated the character Jane. I hated her so much. She needed to die. Because, yes, this is a deadly race. But the enchanted woman wasn't really gonna do a whole lot to Jane, and Jane had to freaking kill her. At least I don't think she would have done a lot to Jane. She would have done anything because that's interfering with the race, which is forbidden. And then Astrid goes to a town on a motorcycle, which was under a tarp, which Darius was hiding under. And he's heading south because he already got the clue, but she's going there. He manipulated the musicians so he could get a head start, but he came and rescued Astrid for a deal because she had transport. Transportation was the thing that would win or lose this race. So they strike a deal. She uses transportation. She has the transportation. He has the clue. They go on their journey together. I love the growth of these two characters because Darius really is the surrogate that took Astrid's brother Jaden's place when he left, and his name, as far as Astrid knew from her previous memories, was Kit, when actually his full name is Darius Kittering, which Kit for short. But they sprout a kind of love. It's like a slow burn, enemies to lovers, and I love it. They go through the race, and obviously, the king's authority guards are all chasing after Astrid because she's using illegal magic. Magic she shouldn't have. Magic she shouldn't be using because she has an unfair advantage. She gets away and everything with it, and she goes through into like everyone in the whole freaking kingdom of Lenoria knows Astrid because of what happened to her father. Also, turns out Marlin entered the race. Marlin, 11 years old, entering the race of Oblivion. Surprisingly, he makes it out alive, which just proves his resilience. There was a moment, they were at like their third or fourth checkpoint, and Prince Lars Prince Lars attempts to kill Astrid by pretending to be her older brother. Obviously, she has no memories of what her older brother looks like because both her brothers have straight black hair. Prince Lars, you have blonde hair. She has dark hair. So do her brothers. What are you thinking? She refuses to go with him because Darius, he warns her against fake Jaden. Warns her because he had some memory sickness earlier. Memory sickness is when memories come back in a painful way. He had a memory about Astrid, which allowed him to prove what Prince Lars was saying was false. Though he did lie about what his memory was about, did know that the guy pretending to be Jaden was actually Prince Lars. Prince Lars leaves. He gives Astrid a canteen, which Darius takes because he's being nice and holding some stuff. They keep going. She has him hand her a canteen to drink a little water, and it turns out it's poison. She then doesn't trust Darius. But that's when I have an issue. Darius couldn't have known it was poisonous. The fact that Astrid doesn't trust him after that, I get it. She has no memory. She doesn't know anything. And even if she did, she probably would, kick his ass out. He's done so much to help her. He's come back for her when it was possible she wouldn't have. I just don't get it. He's done things that should gain her trust, but she doesn't trust him. I might be too trusting, but I would trust the guy. They go on their way. They find Jaden. Astrid goes through a hell of a beat up in order to convince her brother, who she doesn't know is her brother right now, to take her to Falling Leaf for the next clue lead. Obviously, she goes to this Falling Leaf, places a bomb she doesn't know is a bomb but thinks is a listening device that she got from Jaden, and places it, and then watches as the sun rises over the gates of the Falling Leaf, which glow purple, and then that leads her to the next clue where she is almost killed by this red-haired fella who we find out tried to recruit her into the Ola earlier because Jaden wanted some help bombing Apple Carnival, but as Astrid had finally gotten the royal order to be able to be given to her father. She didn't want to corrupt any of that, so she went with the safe answer, saying, no, can't help. But this red-haired guy was like, no, 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 and now I'm going to kill you for this. So throughout the entire race, he's like trying to kill her. So at some point, he got his memories back, but he's trying to kill her, and honestly, it's ridiculous, but he almost succeeds, which is horrifying. They go through the race, they're almost to the end, and then in the wilds, they find Jaden again, and they're in the middle of like a bomb fight with Prince Lars's entourage, which I find freaking hilarious. Some things in this book are ridiculous, but it's great. While they're in the wild, because they think somewhere along here is the next clue, or as we find out, second, the finish line. And by this point, Astrid thinks her little brother Marlin has died because he's not strong enough. But lo and behold, Marlin uses Pontium magic to connect with Astrid, because he's got some memories back now. Connects with Astrid, uses a Pontium bridge, he reveals the final clue and what it is, and he's in this situation because some of the king's knights have kidnapped him to take him away. On Prince Lars' friggin' orders, so he gets taken away, but he gives Astrid the means to go there. And then Jaden, despite hating the race, despite hating everything it represents, he decides to promise to make sure Astrid steps over that finish line so they can both become citizens, because that's the whole point of the race. He sends two people with her and Darius, and obviously something goes wrong, so because why not? Those two people he sent, one of them gets badly injured, and so the other just helps them back. But they tell Astrid how to get through. And then they go through a tunnel. We learn Darius is afraid of the dark. Then they have to fight through a sandstorm before heading to the mine, where the finish line is. They barely make it through. Darius had gotten shot in the shoulder earlier, so he's obviously not having a good time. But they get through it, and Darius sends Astrid forward, saying he'll catch up when he catches his breath. And so she runs and runs and runs, and then freaking redheaded guy comes over and he tries to kill her. And he thinks he has her down, so he goes walking off to the finish line. But Astrid won't let him do that, but she uses her other type of magic and downs the redhead, and then literally crawls to the finish line. And Darius is like right after her. So she's crossed the finish line, she has the crown of Oblivion, and is now a citizen along with her brother. Obviously, Prince Lars won't release her brother because he's a dick. And he tries to revoke her crown, but the queen, she knows things. And so she won't do that to her best friend's child. So Darius and Astrid both get the crown of Oblivion. So they're the king and queen of Oblivion. And it's great. It means so much. But at the coronation, the crowning, the ball, the whatever, Jaden releases his forces on the palace and demands the release of Marlin. It's great, but also almost kills Marlin. Counterproductive. This is why Jaden's methods confuse me. Like, he's trying to save his brother, but he's also risking his brother's life. I know he doesn't know where his brother is, but still, there is a possibility he is in the palace. Why attack the goddamn palace? Like, you used to live there. You should know. There are dungeons in the palace that no one goes to. Barely make it out alive. Prince Lars is dead. I'm glad. Happily ever after? I don't know. That's how the book ends. That's what makes me angry. It's not yet closed enough that it doesn't warrant a sequel, but it's also, so it's closed enough that it doesn't entirely need a sequel, I guess, but it's not closed enough to say that there won't be a sequel. And there's no word online as of recording this video. I have looked. There's no word of a sequel coming. I'd like a sequel. Maybe explain the magic a bit better. Go into the rebellion a bit more. And refine it. It just needs one more book, really. So, that's Crown of Oblivion. That's all my thoughts on it. It's a good book. I love it. It should have had a bit more explaining on the magic and all 3 unities. We don't get a whole lot on the other 2 except for Scientia, but who knows? Maybe there'll be a second book. I'm going to keep looking for things to lead me to that, but as of now it's a standalone, and I wish it wasn't. It's a good book if you somehow made it through this entire long video and went through everything with me and somehow still haven't read it. Go read it. Give this book some love. It is amazing. That is the end of this book talk. So this video ended a bit abruptly. That happened because the recording stopped abruptly. I got all my thoughts out in there, so there's no chance of me just deleting this. And I am sorry that I sounded a little off in this video because, like I said in my I'm back again video, I started the year off not feeling the greatest. I started off with flu and the bronchitis, and bronchitis takes a lot longer to heal from, so I was still recovering from that. But for some reason, I thought it a good idea to record a video. I'm just an idiot because I do this kind of thing. I think with what I had to work with, this is the best outcome I could have had. It is a longer book talk than what I'm going to be mostly putting out. But regardless, I hope you enjoyed it. This is actually the only February video I have, because the others got lost. I'm going to be uploading another video later this week, because that'll be my Throne of Glass book talk. Then I believe after that I might just stick to just one video a week, though if I feel like it, I will upload 2. Before this end card gets too long like the last one, I'm going to wish you a good day, good night, good whatever. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see more book talks like this, subscribe, ring the bell for your notifications, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!